Folks, once again, welcome back to stlouisblues.com. I'm Chris Kerber. Glad you're coming back and checking in with us. Tonight, the St. Louis Blues face off against the Nashville Predators, and it's game one of the decade plan that the St. Louis Blues put together. A tribute to St. Louis Blues hockey, its rich history, and tonight we celebrate the first decade of St. Louis Blues hockey. So rather fittingly, we thought on this morning's interview on stlouisblues.com, we check in with a man that's been a part of the organization since day one, and that's Bob Plager. And Bobby, this is going to be kind of a neat night. Yeah, the hockey team's on a bit of a roll, but to look back to that first decade of St. Louis Blues hockey, it was a fun decade when this team first came to St. Louis, wasn't it?
Well, it was it was a lot of fun that decade, and then looking back, it doesn't seem like 40 years. It just seems like a short time ago, and still got all the memories, and it was a great time.
What did it mean knowing that even though the way the system was set up, the team that won that expansion division went on, but, 3 straight runs to the Stanley Cup Finals?
Well, it was the greatest. The old saying is, we never won the Stanley Cup, but we always used to say, well, if you don't win the Stanley Cup, be the team that loses it. That's what you say when you're in second place. But it was a great run, and what a great bunch of players we had. And, those first years, the team, we didn't win a Stanley Cup, but we had players in our team that had won 4 or 5 Stanley Cups. So it was just a great time.
You walk around the concourse here, folks, at Scott Trade Center, like standing behind us, we've got Jimmy Roberts, on a lit backboard that you could read about his career with the Blues, and we've got Glenn Hall, one of the great goalies of all time in the National Hockey League. So the history is here in the building for you to learn. But the other great part is you get to walk around and you'll see Bob Plager, whether it be at our post-game show or up on the concourse, and you get to talk to him about some of that history. And when we look back and you see the guys' names like Glenn Hall and Jimmy Roberts, and of course, you come to the arena every day and you see Barkley's number hanging in the rafters. What goes through your mind from that era?
Well, it's what you say, and I do walk around the rink, and you do stop. You look at the Jimmy Roberts, and they remind you, the Glenn Hall, there's a story to each one of these players, and some funny stories, good stories, but great stories, and, what great players they were, too. I mean, they're Hall of Fame players, just about most of these guys that are up here now.
Gary Unger's going to be here at the Scott Trade Center tonight. Is it going to be fun for you to see him?
Well, it'll be fun to see Gary. He was one of the first stars of our team, superstars. We had Red Berenson was our #1 guy early, and then Gary Unger came in here just as a young hockey player, with blonde hair, and a super hockey player, great hockey player too.
Bobby, guys come to the St. Louis Blues in 1967, an expansion team. What were the thoughts of the players when you find out we're going to St. Louis, Missouri?
Well, I'm sure everybody, I know I did, you followed the draft, who was going to get picked up, and, it was a chance for a lot of players that were in the minor league. This was going to be a chance for you to play in the National Hockey League, and that's the dream, to live your dream, and you get a chance. And to be honest, when I seen the team put together, St. Louis Blues, before I came here in a trade a day later, I didn't have St. Louis up at the top, and when you got here and you talked to Lynn Patrick, and Scotty Bowman was here, and Lynn Patrick sat down one day talking, and I said, there's some better players I thought that were available, and we picked up in the draft guys that were New York and Boston. Lynn Patrick says, look at this team that's here. Every one of the players that's on this team have won a championship, been in the finals. They're all winners, and that's what this team is. They all know how to win. They all know how to play in April and maybe May. The players you talk about, Rangers and Boston that played there, they don't know what it's like to play in April. So, and you looked, and we had half the Montreal organization, their farm club here, and they were all winners. So that's what it was the first year. This team was put together, not with the greatest players, but every player here had won a championship or been in the finals years before.
Folks, tonight at Scott Trade Center, we celebrate the first decade of St. Louis Blues hockey. We'll have more interviews with Bob Plager in game tonight. Gary Unger is going to be at the Scott Trade Center tonight. We're going to be giving away vintage jerseys with these guys' names on 40 of them in a jersey giveaway that you're going to want to come and see. We're throwing back the price of hot dogs to $1. So a great opportunity for you to come down, and on top of it all, the Blues are playing phenomenal hockey, and the Nashville Predators are in town tonight. Come on down to the Scott Trade Center. Game time, 7 o'clock. We'll hear more from Bobby Plager a little later on tonight. We'll see you this evening.